Hello friends, and welcome to Towne Yoga. Today I'd actually like to share with you a few tips of things that you can do off the mat to help support or get ready for your yoga practice. And this is particularly for new yogis. So you're going to start yoga or you've just started yoga and you're wondering how you can help transition into a healthy practice, if there are some things you can do when you're off the mat. And the answer is yes, of course there are. So I'll share with you 3 things you can do off your yoga mat today to help support a healthy yoga practice. The first thing you can do is increase the range of motion at your wrists. So wrist complaints are one of the top things new yogis have because we spend a lot of our everyday life in more of this curved position where we're typing, driving, texting, that kind of stuff. And in yoga, we take the opposite. We kind of draw the fingers back in things like tabletop where our hands are on the mat and down dog where they're supporting our weight. So some yogis will complain that it hurts their wrist, which is normal because you're taking it into a position that you don't usually. So out in everyday life, take your hands into that position a little more often. I like to go with red lights. At every red light, I stop and put one wrist just on top of the wheel and then bring the other fingers and just draw the fingers of that hand back, gently pulling them back towards the top of my hand to stretch the wrist. And it's not a lot of force, it's just gentle pulling back here, feeling a little stretch, a light stretch. And you can hold that for about 10 to 30 seconds. So that's why a red light's nice, because it's usually about that time. And at the next light, you'll switch and do it with the other hand, just drawing the fingers back. So if you can think of a time of day where you can add a motion like this into your life, so you can do it every day, maybe just a few times a day, nice and gentle, that's a great idea. Another one you can do for wrist range of motion is drawing letters or numbers in the air, like your fingertips or paintbrushes. So if you just reach out and maybe draw some 1s, 2s, 3s, just drawing some numbers here with the wrist, and that takes them through different range of motion. And do the same thing with your fingers spread apart. Let's see if I can get the 8 this time. I may have filmed it more than once because those 8s are tricky. So drawing letters or numbers with the wrist, a great way to increase your range of motion without any weight on it. And then just drawing back, a great way to stretch out that specific spot so when you do have your hands on the mat, you're a little bit more prepared for that. Our second thing is going to be very similar. It's increasing the range of motion at your feet and also kind of strengthening your feet. Since yoga is done barefoot and not a lot of our everyday life is spent barefoot, sometimes we want to build the muscles of the feet back up a little bit for our yoga practice. So for that, I'm going to come to seated on the couch, and you can take any comfortable chair, seat, but somewhere where you can take your shoes off. And then for this, you'll just need a dish towel or a washcloth, even a paper towel would probably work, and something that you're comfortable putting on the ground and also putting your feet on. So you'll set the towel on the ground and you'll place your heel will stay in place on the towel. And you'll just reach down and scrunch the towel with your toes, lift it up a little bit and release. Come down, scrunch, lift and release just a few times. I like to change the angle every now and then so I get different kind of parts of the foot active. And I would do about 10 on one foot and then just switch it over and do about 10 on the other. Maybe every time you sit down to watch a TV program, so you do this once or twice a night. And then you can start to get fancy and lift the towel up and drop it back down a few times, getting nice strong toes there. So that's one thing for kind of strengthening our feet, our toes, and our arches. You're going to feel those muscles contract a little bit. But then we also want to do range of motion exercises, and I'd recommend the same ones as the wrist. So you can do these laying in bed or maybe seated on a couch like this, just lifting your foot up. And we'll go with letters this time. Draw some alphabet letters. Maybe talk about your day as you draw it out with your feet. And again, it's just to take your ankle through all different ranges of motion, which maybe you haven't been doing lately. And that will help for when you're on your mat, having nice strong feet and get those balancing muscles nice and active with a little bit more range of motion in your ankles. So our first one is kind of helping the wrists get ready. Our second one is helping the feet and ankles get ready. And then the third tip I have for you is just connecting a little bit more deeply with your breath. And you can do that seated on a chair, you can do it laying down in your bed, whatever's comfortable for you. For that, you're just going to place maybe a hand on your belly and a hand on your chest. And just spend a little bit of time as you inhale, feeling yourself get bigger. So as you draw air in through your nose if you can, or your mouth if that's more comfortable, feel your hands rise a little bit. And when you let air out, feel them kind of come back towards your spine. My favorite is doing this laying down. So it's the same thing, but I find that to be very comfortable and easier for me to breathe a little more deeply. So you'll just connect, feeling a rise with your inhales, and a contraction, a release with your exhales. Feeling yourself get a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller. And just take time to feel your breath in your body. And maybe you begin to deepen your breath just a little bit. And if your breath is shallow or fast, it's okay. Just take time to feel. Getting bigger and a little smaller. With the air coming in and out. So those are my 3 tips for things that you can do off of your mat to help get ready for your yoga practice. Maybe you're going to start at a studio. Maybe you've decided you want to be in your home and do some online practices. If so, you're in a great place because I'll link some beginner-friendly practices at the end of this video you can dive into. Or maybe you're going to take yours at school. That's actually how I started my first yoga class, was for 1 college credit back in undergrad, and it's been a great journey since then. So if you're new to yoga, if you're starting out, I'm so happy you found this practice. It's wonderful and can just be a life-changing experience to really connect with your body and your breath in such a meaningful and comfortable way at many times. So welcome to yoga. I hope you enjoy these off-the-mat tips and practices, and join me for some beginner-friendly or gentle yoga practices. I will end this video as I end teaching classes, which is with hands at heart center, so I can let you know that the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Namaste.